Chef Afa is one of the true original master chefs of Taiwanese cuisine. I think food always has a story.
My father used his love, his passion to make this dish for me. It's the same taste like when I childhood my father made for me. The flavor of my father's dishes, I think nobody can replace my father's.
When creating a dish that is inspired by Afa's dish, feeling like you don't want to disappoint them, so I'm gonna have to, yeah, there's a bit of pressure. Welcome to Taiwan. Hi everyone, it's Jason Wang and welcome to Jason's Table. Today we are in Cuisine, Taiwan to find one of my old friends who is one of Taiwan's top master chefs. He played a key role in an Ang Lee's classic movie and is known as one of the top banquet chefs in all of Taiwan. I hope he's here today. Let's go in and take a look. Amazing. I see someone I know. So I'm here to find Chef Afa Shi, and this is Jeff, his son, who is also a very accomplished chef. So Jeff, hi, good to see you.
Jason,
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
This restaurant is amazing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. My father wants to give all his guests a very good experience.
Yeah.
So he very paid attention to all the details, every single detail.
It's gorgeous. So is he here today somewhere?
Yeah, he's today. So let me show you around our restaurant.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go find him.
He's waiting for us at top floor.
All right. Hi. Afa Shi, 你好, please sit. Please. Wow. So folks, this is Afa Shi, who is considered one of the godfathers of Taiwanese cuisine. We're so excited to be here. If you were to recommend one of the classic dishes of Taiwan for us today, which dish would you recommend?
那我来一道巴斯香干炖。
Pork liver with shredded or julienne 8 treasures. Why did you pick this particular dish for us to sample or to cook today? What's the meaning behind this particular dish?
巴斯巴就我们来讲叫花，因为有8种材料嘛，里面的丝，里面还有花菜在里面，所以一个花材的巴。好，对。那当然那个干炖谐音，瓜炖的做官。 送品，接下来升官发财。
谢谢。I think it's amazing just the amount of meaning and layers behind just the names and also the ingredients in the dishes. So it's not just that it tastes good, but it has a really important meaning.
这道菜应该讲从我奶奶那个时代吧，50、60年前，以前猪肝是非常的贵，非常比猪肉还要贵，所以生病的人才可以吃到那么好的东西的食材啦。 我们今天用的猪肝是用一个黑猪的，是一个比较无污染的地方养殖出来的，来做出来这个猪肝的一个料理。
And I think just talking about the food is making me super hungry. So is there any way we can maybe get in the kitchen and you'll show us how to make this dish?
没问题啊，这是我的专长啊，做菜是我的最爱呀。
Everyone knows that Chef Afa is one of the true original master chefs of Taiwanese cuisine, and he's considered one of the top 10 Asian chefs in all the world. In 2004, he was the top prize winner for Singapore's FHA International Chinese Cuisine Banquet Competition. And in the classic movie Eat, Drink, Man, Woman by Ang Lee, Chef Afa was the lead culinary consultant. The hands you see on screen sometimes were his. I know Chef Afa Shi is one of the godfathers of Taiwanese cuisine, so I'm so honored and delighted for this opportunity to taste his cuisine.
巴斯香干炖，我们再来切材料。第二椅板，这一道菜我们就是有火候跟刀工，跟它的香味。
These dishes must be very talented to cut different juliennes, and it's all the same size.
再我们就切蒜。
Afa's knife skills are just really on another level. You can just see him cutting all the different little shred things. He's just smooth, easy, nice rhythm. He knows exactly what he's doing, and the little shreds of things coming out are just as fine as maybe the hair on my head. So he's practiced his knife skills for years.
Pork liver has been treated as such a luxury ingredient and star of this dish. He's used the texture and the properties of the liver. The trick of this particular dish is to take the best qualities of the pork liver, which is it has a lovely fattiness to it, and combine that with the pork belly to create something that is really rich and luscious and really highlights the special qualities of pork liver.
我们要一块差不多3-7油脂的花肉。
What's a really special technique is to see Afa use the 2 cleavers. Nowadays, sometimes people just use like a food processor and like zzz. It just really turns the meat into a paste. So really high quality cuisine still preserves this method of hand cutting. You get the texture, still retains the fibers of the meat, and I think that's the mark of a really excellent chef.
这个调味一半的咸度在酱油，但我们是加鸭蛋。 鸭蛋它本身有一种香味，而且这个蛋可以把锁住所有的猪肝跟猪肉的味道。
When you mix together and steam, we keep combine all the flavors together.
Steaming is one of the key techniques in Taiwanese cuisine, and it really lets all the flavors permeate inside without losing any of the flavors.
好，我们要炸蛋酥。
I'm always really amazed in Taiwanese cuisine, the use of the fried egg. It's not greasy, you retain the aroma of the egg, and to have that as an additional component on the dish. In a lot of Asian cuisines, there's the technique of thickening the sauce using cornstarch slurry. The cornstarch allows you to trap all the flavors of the ingredients in there without adding a heavy floury taste.
我们最经典的汤汁一定要留起来。
As Afasu was, putting that cornstarch slurry in there, you get that anticipation of wow, now it's gonna coat the meatball in a nice, lovely, velvety cloak, and it's just making my mouth water.
Jababe.
Amazing. So Afasu has completed the dish, and now we're gonna get to taste it. If you can see, it's just gorgeous. There's all these different colors and all the delicate things on here.
Mm. 那种香味就是猪肝、红葱头，还有豆腐本身，还有肉的鲜味都在里面，全部可以吃到很不一样的口感。每一口在嚼的时候，一口一口的味道都不一样。
And I think what's so amazing is that, typically when we think of pork liver, has a very strong flavor, but the way that the chef has prepared it, it's absolutely delicious.
It's the same taste like when I chofu my father made for me. It's the same, always the same.
The texture of the dish is really amazing, and Afasu was using the 2 cleavers to chop everything, so that really makes a big difference in terms of the texture. There's delicate chewiness, but springiness, and the meat isn't just like a mush, and if you told me that there was pork liver in here, I would have no idea. I think when you take a look at it, it looks like maybe just a giant large piece of steamed meatball, but no, there are layers and layers and layers and layers upon layers
a flavor that as you're eating it really comes through in the dish. So I think it's super successful, and no wonder it's one of the classic dishes here at the restaurant.
My father used his love, his passion to make this dish for me. Even I don't know inside it's a pork leaf. Yeah,
but it's delicious, it's nutritious.
Yes, it's very delicious.
Wonderful expression of love for his children. Yeah. I want to thank Abbas so much for welcoming me into this is his home. Now that I've had this delicious, amazing creation, it's my job to see how this inspires me and maybe create something new in the kitchen inspired by Abbas's dish. So Abbas, I would like to invite you into my kitchen and have you taste something that I create inspired by your dish. 可以吗？
可以啊，谢谢你，谢谢你，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢。
I think to be inspired and come up with something new in the kitchen is going to be quite a challenge. The dish itself has a tradition and history attached to it, and also personal meaning for his family. So for me to take what I've eaten today, take what I've tasted, I've got to think about what aspects of the dish I want to combine into something new that both is delicious, maybe a little unusual, but definitely still pays homage and respects the origins of this wonderful dish. Well, we're back in my kitchen, and after tasting Abbas's delicious dish, I've come up with an idea of my own. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some beautiful sea scallops and some shrimp and make almost like a meatball, like his Ba's Xianggan. And I think I'm gonna pair that with a lovely shredded 8 treasure salad. I think it's gonna play nicely off the textures and just create something really delicious that uses the same themes and ingredients that Abbas did. So let's get started. Shrimp and scallop, I'm gonna chop them up and make them like a paste, almost that same idea of using the liver. Shrimp has that lovely protein structure, so when you smash it, it gets nice and pasty. That's gonna help us bind our cakes together. Scallops I love. They are from native areas to New England, where I grew up. I just love the texture of sea scallops, and it's considered a luxury ingredient. So we have our mix here of the shrimp and the sea scallops, and why do I have 2 blades? Well, this is the traditional way to do it, and you saw Abbas, the 2 cleavers. It's a completely different texture than if you were to just run it through like a food processor or something like that. I'm gonna add a couple little ingredients to add some texture, flavor, and color. This flavor, it's great with seafood. Celery, you gotta be careful, sometimes a little bit of the fibers. I'm gonna add a little bit of ginger. A little water chestnut. Abbas's dish has that in the meatball portion. It's a little bit of mayonnaise. And one of my favorites, mustard. Just with seafood to give a little extra oomph. And traditional with seafood, just a little bit of wine. I'm gonna put in some panko. So panko breadcrumbs, just to help bind this as well, give it a little texture. Last but not least, so these scallops have a little bit of liver or roe on them, and this is just like in the original dish. So I'm going to crush this, and just like with Abbas, it's using 2 portions and 2 parts of the same ingredient. So pork, you got the liver and you got the pork belly, and here we have the scallop and you have the scallop roe. In we go. Beautiful color. Our mixture is nicely seasoned, so I'm going to put it into a little mold shape, and that way we can let it firm up, and then we will fry them off a little bit later. They smell delicious already, but we need to let these set up in the fridge, so in they go. Abbas has a plethora of different magical ingredients that are used for the 8 shreds, and I've picked some of my favorites. So let's start with the kohlrabi.
Ginger's a little bit of an unusual addition in here, but I love the freshness that it gives to a dish. And if you cut it very finely, it's not gonna be hot. It's just gonna be a lovely crunchy addition. Next is my little trick. I love water spinach, and a lot of people don't know that it can be used as a garnish vegetable. So I'm gonna take this nifty little knife and watch the magic. Surprise. This goes straight into cold water. It's gonna curl up and get nice and crunchy. So I've made a little bit of egg omelet, and Apas's dish has little egg threads in there, so I'm gonna cut this up nice and finely. Our last treasure is just a little bit of shallot. It's gonna give some nice sweetness, but without the heat of a real onion. Now we're gonna let this sit. I've got the ice water, I've got the 8 shredded treasures resting. You've got your egg, you've got your leeks, water, spinach, kohlrabi, and you've got the chili, shallot, ginger, and the carrot. So we're gonna come back to this in just a minute. So I'm gonna make a mustard honey vinaigrette with a little bit of lemon in there. Garlic. Garlic paste in. Next, some fresh lemon. Little pepper. A little bit of honey. Yummy. And my secret ingredient, a little bit of sumac. It's gonna give a nice lemony flavor, so almost like using 3 kinds of acid. Add some lovely, delicious olive oil. Delicious. Food has to have a meaning, you know? You don't just cook things just because they taste good. I think the food that really sticks with you is something that meant something to somebody or had a story with it. So my take on maybe scallop crab cakes type version of a dish recalls my growing up in New England, and hopefully that's something I can share with Apas when he comes to eat. Hi, Apas, 你好，你好，你好，来来来来，欢迎。And Jeff, good to see you again. Hi, and I'm Jason. Daniel, pleasure. So I'm thrilled today. Apas brought one of his signature dishes, and I cooked something as well. So come have a seat, please. Well, what a treat. This is Apas's pork liver with shredded 8 treasures, and in Chinese it is the 八丝香干炖. Oh, 谢谢. I think it's just like at the restaurant, it's gorgeous and it smells delicious. So can we dig in? Yeah, serve your father. And what I love about it is I know there's the little egg layer at the bottom. I think it's just a marvel of different texture. Have you had this before?
Yeah, I had the chance to have something similar.
Thanks, Jeff. You're gonna help
Big
yourself.
fan of his cuisine.
Are we supposed to use chopsticks or forks? Doesn't matter. Don't touch it.
I don't eat liver myself. It's something that usually this kind of forbidden ingredient on my diet. The combination of textures is very interesting. A lot of different layers, pretty balanced creation that it was very impressive.
So after tasting this delicious, I mean, I could eat the whole thing myself, but after having this, it's wonderful creation, I kind of had some ideas of my own, so I made a small little dish for us to sample. Do you have a little bit of room? Can you fit it in?
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm gonna go get it, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, thanks. Be right back. Thanks.
很期待吃到 Jason 的菜，因为是一个很用心的厨师，而且他在做料理的时候是用心在做的。
Our scallop cakes are out of the refrigerator right now, so I'm going to dip them in a little bit of flour, then I'm gonna dip them in some egg and some panko crumbs, give them a little extra crunch, and then I'm gonna saute them in a pan. So here we go, nicely set, a little bit of flour. And into some crunchy panko crumbs. Yum. So into a nice hot pan. So we're gonna let these go for a little bit and check on them in a little bit.
假爸爸 Bon appetit. And this is my dish. So an homage to Afas's pork with the 8 treasures. Mine is a scallop cake with shredded 8 treasure salad. Inside there's a scallop, and then there's some prawns, and then a little bit of celery, pepper, and a little bit of a mustard sauce on the outside.
哇，我好喜欢，这有一点南洋的味道，它的酸酸甜甜的，应该是这个潮流里面哦，年轻人最爱的。
Yeah.
Softness on the inside, the crispy of the external layer of the cookie, and then the crunchiness of the veggies all together. It works very well.
And you must use very high quality scallop, right?
Oh yeah, we use sea scallops because
Yeah, we can taste the like really pure taste of the.
Because if you folks are coming to supper, I have to serve you only the best. You know, I'd be embarrassed otherwise. And Jeff, what should I do differently next time? I know you're an expert. More sauce, more sour, crunchier. I always value your opinion because I know you're a good chef.
I know, you know, it's really perfect. You know, inside you can taste the water chestnuts. You give a lot of crispy, and you can taste prawn. You can taste scallop. Everything is good, really.
Well, I wouldn't have come up with this if it weren't for tasting a master dish from your father. So I think I'm really honored that you two came here today.
Everything is so balanced about textures, about scallop. You can still taste very pure. Everything mixed very well. So I love it. I love his dishes. Yeah.
海鲜的味道跟我们蔬菜的味道都融合在一起，非常的棒，非常的好吃。
I think food always has a story, and I think it's important to know when you're cooking what that story is. Each chef has his own signature cooking style and signature story, and I just feel really privileged to know that I'm able to learn from that this time. I think the great thing about eating with people you care about and people you love is that it just transmits something straight from the heart. The key to sharing good food and good times is spend time with people you really care about. So this is Jason at Jason's Table, Masterful Dishes, and thanks to my guests here for being here. We're gonna get back to eating, so I'll see you next time. Bye.